Doink! That about sums up the Dolphins and the Colts game today. Doink. D-O-I-N-K. A weird, ugly, nasty word, especially for Dolphins fans, for a weird, ugly, nasty, especially for Dolphins fans, game. The Dolphins lose to Anthony Richardson and the Indianapolis Colts in Indiana 16-10. How you doing? I am Dan Day. I don't know. I'm not asking how you're doing. I am Dan Day. Robert Grieper is helping me out today. That game was offensive. There was no offense, but it was offensive. Tyreek Hill doesn't catch a pass until the last minute of the game. Oh, by the way, he and Jalen Waddle had no targets at halftime. No targets. That game, this coaching staff, and I know there's going to be a lot of people saying, well, they just don't have the time to get it out there. Figure something out. That's why they extended you, Mike McDaniel. That's why we pay you. Figure it out. Last year, Tua got it to him. He didn't have all that much more time. This team desperately misses Tua Tagovailoa. And while we're at it, this team desperately misses Tyreek Hill. This team desperately misses Jalen Waddle. They are MIA, and I'm not talking about Miami. This team has nothing right now. They were coming into the game averaging 12 points a game. Robert Grieper, correct me if I'm wrong. How many points did they score today? Was it 10?
Yeah, it's pretty sad.
Below their average of the league's lowest average already?
Now, mind you, you're on your third quarterback. Later, fourth quarterback.
Yeah, Tyler Huntley, who has not looked very good. Let's not say that. Tim Boyle, who I don't want to hear it. He's our guy now.
But that's where I fault this team is they didn't have a legitimate backup here to start the season. So Tua, last year, mind you, he was injury-free. We know that.
They figured he was healthy last year. He'll be healthy this year.
Oops.
And then they figured, oh, don't worry about it. Skylar Thompson, he's our guy. It's his third year. He's been groomed for this. He beat out Mike White. We'll be fine.
Yeah, but here's my problem is you got two problems. Greer and McDaniel. Number one, like I said, Greer didn't get a legitimate backup to Tua. That's number one. For whatever reason, they didn't want competition with Tua, whatever it was. I don't know.
It hurt his feelings, even though they paid him a ton of money. They paid Tua a ton of money, and then they're worried about hurting his feelings. Well, guess what? Pay me millions of dollars, and you can hurt my feelings all day.
But here's the other thing is that Mike McDaniel is supposed to be a quarterback guru. I don't know about you, but how do you not plan an offense around the quarterback you have? You know you can't use what you used for Tua with what you have, and you still go out. I mean, as you mentioned earlier, Waddle, Tyreek, they are like ghosts out there on the field because no one's seeing them.
Malik Willis comes in for Green Bay. No problem. We'll tailor the game plan to him, and we'll win some games. Joe Flacco comes into games and is lighting the world up. Now, Spencer Rattler for the Saints, that's a different story. Not so good. It's not that easy.
Wait a second. He still scored multiple touchdowns, though.
Still scored touchdowns. He still completes passes. He still throws for over 100 yards. Snoop Huntley left the game with 87 yards passing with 7 minutes left in the third. Oh, yeah, and Jonnu Smith is apparently the best player on our offense all of a sudden.
And they didn't use him before when Tua was there either. So figure that one out.
Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, 0 targets. No, not 0 receptions at halftime. Targets. Julian Hill had more targets. And you're saying, who's Julian Hill? Exactly. Had more targets at halftime than the two of the best receivers and highest paid receivers in the league, in the history of the league. Now, I understand. Tyler Huntley holds on to that ball. I'm not going to say anything like, oh, no, he doesn't have time. He holds on to it a little bit. Last year, though, you schemed to get the ball immediately to Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. First read. You can't do that now? Mike McDaniel, coach, I'm sorry. Am I out of line? 305, you can start calling in now because I'm tired of yelling. 305-567-0560. You can call in. We'll take your calls straight out the gate. Grieper, am I absurd for saying this statement? Mike McDaniel, coach. All they were talking about is him running up the sidelines and calling timeout. He got fooled on that one, too, when they were going to go for it on 4th and goal. Hell no, they're not going to go for it on 4th and goal. when we got Tim Boyle in at quarterback and their quarterback wasn't much better. Please.
It's not as if this was a high-scoring game.
I was praying that it was 10-10. They acted like they were going to go for it on 4th and goal at like the 3. Yeah, right. But Mike McDaniel, smartest guy in the room, timeout. Make them use the timeout. Make them go for it. How about that? You got a better chance that way.
Yeah, you would have held them to nothing probably, because the way that they were going, I mean, seriously, they had 3 downs where they couldn't get it in already.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, Anthony Richardson looked rusty. I don't know if he's good or bad. He hadn't done a lot of games, played a lot of games. He's coming back from an injury. He looked rusty. He looked bad out there most of the time. 305-567-0560 is the number to call. You think Calais Campbell came back for a 17th season in his hometown of Miami to play for the Dolphins to do this?
And you know what the amazing thing is? He's probably one of your top 5 most productive players on your entire roster.
The dude's 39 years old.
Exactly. What does that say?
And he's playing more downs than anybody. And he's healthier than anybody, by the way. Let's not stop that. Tyler Huntley, Tua Tagovailoa, Braxton Berrios goes down today. What else?
Storm Duck too, remember?
Am I wrong for saying Mike McDaniel? And I know some people are texting in, some people calling in 305-567-0560. No, Dan Day, Mike McDaniel, don't coach. We want you fired. People have been saying, fire Mike McDaniel, fire Chris Greer. I'm not there yet, but I want Mike McDaniel to coach a little bit. Coach. You know, excuses, Tyler Huntley was only here for 6 days. Well, he's been the starting quarterback for 3 games now and looked terrible out there. Was it on Tyler Huntley? Not 100%. It's on Mike McDaniel.
Well, you know, the amazing thing is that the analysis has always been Mike McDaniel made Tua a great quarterback. I'm starting to think it's the opposite way around. I'm starting to think it was Tua who made Mike McDaniel look good.
Once again, this team is desperately missing Tua Tagovailoa, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and Tyreek and Jalen Waddle are playing, from what I understand. Just not getting any targets. 305-567-0560. Let's go to the phone lines right now. 560 WQAM.
Sean.
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Sean from Honolulu, Dan. Hey,
Sean,
I told you 3 weeks ago to punt on this team. And if you had punted on this team, like I said, you wouldn't feel as bad as you are right now. He's been figured out, okay? He's been figured out, bro. And I hate to put it to you like that, but, hey, it's all in front of your face.
The evidence is there. He scored 10 points today.
10 points.
I mean, the doink field goal hurt us a lot. Would have tied the game, gave them good field position.
But come on, man, man to man. I mean, you let Anthony Richardson beat you?
Anthony Richardson, 10 for 24 with 129 yards in the air.
Thank you.
Wow.
Wow, really? He's going to kill you? I mean, listen, I'm sorry, man. I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
He did have 56 yards rushing, so.
Yeah, he did plastic some people, but man, I don't know what to tell people, man. I don't know what to say. We're frustrated now.
We had 10 points at halftime, 0 points in the second half, and of course, all exacerbated by that 54-yard doink with 5:14 left in the game. Jason Sanders, thank you very much. You know what?
How
about we help people out? Honestly, let's be honest. Snoop Huntley, he ain't that great. That's why he's a backup.
No.
That's who he's on practice with. Catch some of his passes and make some field goals. Get some interceptions. Get some turnovers. Don't turn the ball over. You don't help anybody out. And Mike McDaniel, your play calling ain't helping anything out either. You got to be able to scheme up better than that.
He ain't no guru. Let me tell you something. What I will agree with you 100% is this. I'm tired of these guys, these quarterbacks getting paid. You talking about there's mental psyche being affected if you bring another quarterback in. I didn't want Joe Flacco.
Yeah. You know what Joe Flacco would have done today? On either side of for either team, he'd have won the game. Either team. If he'd have been on the Dolphins, he'd have won the game. And if he would have started instead of Jason Richardson or whatever it is, Anthony Richardson, they'd have blown us out of the stadium.
Oh, man.
You can't score more than 10 points. We're averaging a league low 12. Now it's 11 pretty much because we only scored 10 points today. We could muster up big 10 points. Oh, whoa, wait a second. Jonnu Smith caught a touchdown. It's the first tight end to catch a touchdown since 2022. Mike Gesicki, who's 2 teams removed from the Dolphins now.
Let me ask you something, man. Do you blow this up or I'm being serious. Do you blow this up?
You get two. This is the problem. They hold us hostage because Tua is going to be back next week, most likely, almost 100%.
That's the narrative.
And now they're going to say, "Oh no, everything's going to be fixed now." Never mind that Tua was playing terrible. Let's be honest. Did you think Tua
True.
played well the first game against Jacksonville and that second
No.
game against Buffalo? He looked terrible.
No.
The team looked
Terrible.
terrible.
Yeah.
Is this team terrible? I know you want to punt on the season. That's the question we have to ask now. Are they going through a rough patch? Or are they just a bad team?
Man, they a bad team, man.
And oh yeah,
Come on,
by
you
the
can't
way,
beat the Colts. You can't beat the Colts.
oh yeah, by the way, enough of the fullback dive. It was cute last game. You do it once. You don't rely on Alec Ingold in the flat and running all these plays. Be creative, Mike McDaniel. Be creative.
How can Tyreek and Waddle get shut down? I can't believe that.
And at halftime, we did look good. 194 yards, 11 first downs, 17 minutes, 35 seconds, time of possession. I said, we're moving in the right direction. Tyler Huntley's feet look like he doesn't know how to throw a pass half the time. What's going on? Is he nervous? Are they not coaching him up? What are they doing? Tim Boyle's out there throwing off his back foot. Like, what do we do?
Well, I mean, let me ask you this. Was the offensive line good today?
It was decent enough, I thought. I mean, they didn't give him a lot of time to throw, but we ran the ball decent enough. But no,
I just think
lots of
he
holding.
doesn't make adjustments, man. I don't think the guru himself doesn't make adjustments.
And going into the season, I said that's what I want to see from Mike McDaniel this year. I want to see him make adjustments because it looked like last year at the end of the season when people kind of started figuring things out, he looked like a deer in the headlights. AKA the Tennessee game, Tyreek Hill gets hurt. But maybe he made an adjustment last week. Oh, maybe we can win because we don't have a quarterback that can barely throw for 100 yards, run the ball. Maybe he made that adjustment. This week goes right back to being deer in the headlights.
Let me ask you something, man. Let me ask all the Dolphins fans something. What makes us think that we are any good? You know what I'm saying? Now I'm being serious.
I'm being honest.
You know,
Sean, you told me punt on the season. I said, come on, let's not overreact. After this loss, and oh yeah, by the way, it doesn't get any easier the rest of the season. You played a bunch of duds who get their only wins of the season against you. And yeah, they decided to bring Anthony. How disrespectful is that? They decided to bring Anthony Richardson back for basically a warm-up game before they start having to play some other teams.
Exactly. How's the rest of the teams in the NFL view the Miami Dolphins? And that's what you have to start.
They view you as a W.
Exactly.
A get-right game. A game where you're not going to give up a lot of points. Can't score. And then when you do get in field goal position, Mr. Doink steps up, Jason Sanders. Goodness, I'm going to ask you this. Is it easier to make a field goal or to hit it against the upright every single game? Every game. Jason Sanders. Okay, I'm going to ask another thing from Jason Sanders. Kick the ball, man. I'm not asking the Dolphins to do things they're not supposed to do, but just Mike McDaniel, coach, Jason Sanders, kick the ball. Whoever's playing quarterback, now it's going to be Tua Tagovailoa. Throw to Tyreek Hill. Throw to Jalen Waddle. Throw to two of the biggest weapons in all the NFL. 0 targets. 0.
Hey, look, I got to tell you something, man. You were right on your boy OBJ. Like you heard through the grapevine in Louisiana. You said, man, come on, he taking money.
But don't worry, he's at all the LSU games, wiling out. Not a good look. Oh, OBJ catch a pass too, by the way. I saw him drop the first pass.
Hit him dead in the hand.
Man, when you got OBJ got 2 targets at halftime, Tyreek Hill 0, Jalen Waddle 0, Julian Hill has targets at halftime. No Tyreek Hill, no Jalen Waddle. Devon Achane, he's our only offense because we got this.
Yep.
I wouldn't even say we have this intermediate game. We have this very short game, hence why we can only score 10 points a game. Why is our game so short all of a sudden? We got nothing but speed, yet we minimize that by playing short.
You know what this reminds me of the offense when I was living in Atlanta back in the 90s? It reminds me of the run and shoot offense.
Yeah.
These short dump passes, they're vertical. They're not, they're not horizontal or anything like that. They're the side passes and all that stuff. It's dink and dunk.
Thank you, Sean. I appreciate you so much, man. Oh, 305-567-0560. Going right back to the phone lines. 560 WQAM. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello?
Hey, what's going on?
What's up, man? It's Chuck. I mean, you pretty much said everything, bro. It falls back on coaching.
Get it out,
I really
man.
think it's the coach, bro. He honestly, he sucks, man. I'm just keeping it real. He sucks. He really sucks, bro. He's not the genius that – why do they keep calling him a genius when we have not seen one genius thing all year?
We had 10 points today, by the way, and we have the lowest average points per game in the NFL. Offensive guru, I think not. Oh, yeah, by the way, did you know how many targets? I'll say it all day because it cannot be overlooked. How many targets, not passes caught, how many targets were to Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle at halftime?
I honestly was feeling bad for Tyreek because I'm like, damn, Tyreek, bro, it got to look bad for y'all stats this year. I know y'all looking like trash in the league. I know y'all numbers at the bottom of the league in receptions, yards, everything. I know y'all like, dang, man, we just got these big ass contracts and we can't even catch the ball.
Do you have any hope that Tua comes back next week and things change and we get drastically better?
I got big hope in Tua. Tua, I'm really thinking McDaniel is the one that be making Tua look bad. Tua do some crazy shit, but he put that ball where it's supposed to be like 80% of the time. But our offense, like you said, is still dink and dunk. It's still like the whole league know what we about to do. The whole league know on 4th and 1, Ingle about to come up the middle. Like we are telegraphic offense, and that's on the coach. So when people already know where Tua is going to go, what you expect him to do? He's doing exactly what McDaniel want him to do. That's one thing about Tua. He's like a robot. He's not on his own. Like he's not going to adjust and he's going to stick to what the coach told him to do. So when you see Tua doing stupid shit, just know it's McDaniels telling him that's the read to go to.
Thank you so much for that right there. Yeah, Tua is one of those guys that he does seem to fit into the system. What's going to happen? It is absolutely frustrating right now. And I'm going to tell you this, of course, an eternal optimist that I am. Tua is going to come back next week. The offense is going to settle down. He's never going to run again. We know that. The offensive line will start protecting him. He'll start getting the ball to Tyreek Hill. He'll start getting the ball to Jalen Waddle. He'll be the leader of this team. By the way, the leader of this team, Alec Ingold, fumbled the ball. That really cost us. It didn't cost us, but it stopped a drive. But Tua will come back, and things will start looking more like they did last year. The only problem with this is, Robert Grieper, how do we look in game one? And I know it's game one and the preseason. All that stuff. We had 20 points.
Well, I don't want to use the same language as the last guy, but he said it right. I mean, seriously, I mean, it's pretty bad when, Tua, when he was in there, wasn't productive.
No, he looked very unsharp.
Skyler wasn't productive.
Whew. Well, I kind of predicted that one. He's not very good.
Wasn't.
Yeah, Snoop is not going to come in on a white horse and save this team. I'm sorry.
Boyle wasn't productive.
So
I don't know about you, but you've had 4 quarterbacks now. 4.
And all of them look terrible.
All of them look bad. I didn't see any redeeming value with any one of them the whole year. Did you see any of them that was going to put the fear of any defense this entire year?
No.
I didn't see it. And the thing is that, and I was watching on the broadcast earlier, and they made a good point. The San Francisco offense that McDaniel is so famous for, it's been figured out now.
Yeah, they even said it on TV. Now they said Mike McDaniel. Now it's his job. He says that he has to adjust to their adjustments.
Correct.
Great. We got a coach that can adjust. So how is he going to adjust?
And that's the thing is that an offensive coordinator and a defensive coordinator, that's their job, is throughout the game, when they see that the other team is taking something away from you, that's your bread and butter, you have to figure something else, because what's happening? They are taking away Tyreek and Waddle. Okay, so then you go at them with Jonnu. You go at them with whatever else you have on the field, because if they're taking away 2 members, that's freeing something else up.
And I know it's easy to blame the offensive line, and the offensive line hasn't been great, but there's a lot of bad offensive lines. And by the way, coach them up. Find a way to get some plays off. Find some creativity. Can't just blame the offensive line. You got to blame the coaching. You got to blame the quarterbacking, because the quarterbacking hasn't been stellar. The receivers, Odell Beckham Jr., if you're going to play catch a pass, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, I have no idea where they're at. I don't know why they were laughing at halftime. Now that's not a very good look. They were joking around at halftime. Mike McDaniel laughing and stuff like that.
No, laughing all the way to the bank.
Well, they are laughing all the way to the bank. We paid everybody. Everybody's happy. A happy team's a winning team.
And
well, the fans aren't happy.
I mean, think about it. Everybody's like, oh, let's blow this up. How? Do you see how many contracts you have on this team that are long-term?
Huge, big contracts.
Good luck getting
out of
them.
This, Robert Griever, and we'll get back to the calls in just a minute. 305-567-0560. This year, so far, who has been the best player on the Dolphins team? Hands down.
Either Calais Campbell or Zach Sealer.
That's a problem. I'll tell you that right now. That's a problem. When you have Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Tua Tagovailoa, Jonnu Smith, you got, well, not Javon Holland, who didn't play today. You've got Jalen Ramsey, who's been hit or miss, but for the most part, he's been a hit. But your best 2 players, without a doubt, and that's why I asked you, Grieber, because those were the 2 I was going to name, Zach Sealer and Calais Campbell, who's in his 17th season. He's 39 years old. He wasn't supposed to play this much. We weren't supposed to need him this much. He's a necessity now. best players on your team are your interior defensive linemen. And they're also the healthiest. Why is a 39-year-old guy in his 17th season the healthiest player on our team? And your kicker, the most accurate kicker in Dolphins history. Who do we have kicking? You and I? I'm infuriated, and I don't want to come on and yell, and I don't want to come on and be upset. I don't want to be angry. But if you're a Dolphins fan, it is frustrating. 24 years, you have not won a playoff game. And this year, I wouldn't even say you're whittling it away. I mean, you're just totally crapping it away.